Hi, I'm Carly,
And I'm Michelle.
and we are your Northwest Arkansas Regional Mentoring Specialist. Welcome to Inspiration After the Bell, the podcast where we
Share stories
strategies
and sparks of inspiration to help educators like you make a difference in the classroom every day. Whether you're a first-year teacher or a seasoned educator, we hope you get a dose of inspiration to carry with you after the bell and beyond.
I am excited today to introduce Hannah.mhoon to our show. Hannah brings a wealth of knowledge about literacy. She is the K-12 literacy specialist for Pea Ridge Schools.
Welcome to the show, Hannah.
So, Hannah, can you tell us about yourself and how you came to be a literacy specialist?
First, thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for being here.
You both have been such a great partner with Pea Ridge and have helped me better serve our teachers and students. So thank you for all the work you both are doing.
Well, we love it. And thank you for having us out there.
A little about me. I always wanted to be a teacher, but everyone I talked to told me not to do it. And that really scared me. So I decided to get my master's in social work. Obviously, I love people and am destined to be poor. So I loved my job working in medical social work, including my time with an adult psych unit. I'm an extreme morning person. And one night at 8 p.m., my bedtime, I had to give a presentation to people who were part of a program series mandated by drug court to participate. And I left there so energized by the conversations that I knew I had to pursue my lifelong dream of being a teacher. Education changes lives and can never be taken away. So I wanted that to be my full-time job. I had an understanding boss, Chris Arias, and was able to see patients on the weekends as I earned my master's in teaching from the University of Arkansas. I showed up to the first school I interned at, which was a local high school, and I was excited to equip these kids to change the world, and they couldn't even understand my bell ringer. These students just did not have the vocabulary or skills to make sense of my bell ringer. Essentially, that started my journey where I attended every professional development I could get on literacy, whether it be here locally or nationally, you name it, I went. I knew these kids deserved the best, so I wanted to make myself worthy to be their teacher. I had planned to retire in my classroom that I loved so much. Then one day, my principal, big shout out to Jason Jones at Springdale High School, who believed in me.
Woo!
He asked, if I would take a temporary role to support literacy in the building. I originally had said no because I just loved what I taught. I loved my kids. And when he asked again with the promise that I could return to my same schedule, I said yes. What surprised me was how much I loved working with teachers who really are the coolest people on the planet, to build systems that allowed them to focus on the work that mattered most. It really helped bridge my two loves, being able to support systems to maximize impact and all things education.
That's wonderful.
Teachers are so brilliant and hilarious, and they are
Yes.
so busy. So I love listening to them and doing what I can to make their ideas become a reality. The first year, the impact was strong enough that our work is now being referenced in an upcoming Solution Tree publication.
Woo, girl, that is amazing.
I know. It really solidified for me how powerful aligned teacher collaboration can be, and it made me want to continue this work at a larger scale. That's what eventually led me to Pea Ridge when I met the brilliant Dana Tabor, our executive director of curriculum and instruction. I was excited by the innovative work already underway here, and I knew I wanted to be part of that team.
Hannah, that is just so amazing, and huge shout out for being published. That's awesome. So can you kind of share what a day in the life looks like for Hannah.mhoon?
Lots of driving between buildings. My days look a little different depending on the building, but they usually center around three things. First, I spend a lot of time with teachers participating in PLCs, calibration, and backward planning conversations. My role is often to help K-12 teams think through how to support student growth and then do what I can to help their ideas actually come to life. Second, I serve as a connector. Because I work across the K-12 continuum, I'm able to share strong practices from one classroom or grade level with others. Teachers are incredibly creative, and I love lifting up their brilliance and spreading their ideas that are already working in the classroom. And third, I keep a pulse on literacy needs across the district, and I collaborate with teachers, principals, and district leadership to ensure teachers have the systems, resources, and support they need to meet their students' needs. At the end of the day, my job is to remove those barriers so teachers can focus on what works and students can keep growing.
Hannah, everything you just said is definitely building student capacity as well, their engagement and their learning and the progression. It's such important work. And as teachers, we need that support because we are busy in the classroom, and
incredibly busy.
Yes. And you're right. Teachers are so creative that sometimes we've got this grand idea, but we're not quite sure how to implement it or make it come to life. So having you there to support that is wonderful.
Yes.
So on our show, one of the things that we like to share with our listeners are practical, easy strategies that they can use right away in their classrooms. So do you have any that you just really love that you could share with us today?
I would say one really simple strategy that teachers can use tomorrow is to ask questions tentatively and in the plural form and or relationally to increase responses. So instead of asking a question that has one right answer, like, what is the strongest branch of government? You might say, there's some argument someone might provide as evidence that the judicial branch is the most powerful. Or instead of, what's the tone of the passage? You could say, last year, my students told me the tone was X. What do you think I said back to them? That small shift lowers the risk for students, invites multiple ideas, and increases engagement.
I'm sorry, Hannah, to interrupt you.
Oh.
Just that shift in vocabulary is going to grow their vocabulary, one, but they're also going to see those types of questions on Atlas, and it's going to be asked that way. So making students comfortable with, okay, it could be asked this way, but then we could up the rigor and say argumentative, in there, or tone.
Yeah, I love how you lifted that. Yeah, because vocabulary is so important to tackling the Atlas in general, but building that domain vocabulary. Yeah, I like how you lifted that. I wasn't necessarily thinking about that, so thank you. Another quick win is just short, focused revision. Teachers often say they don't have time for students to apply feedback, and that's real. It's difficult to think about. But having our students just revise one sentence or setting a 7-minute timer after like a mini lesson helps students to see that improvement can happen quickly without feeling overwhelmed, like they have to start all over. That's a slight tweak. And then in general, though, when I think through literacy, the through line in all of this is accuracy first. So before students practice, they need to see what quality looks like, whether that's through modeling, examples, or guided practice. We know this works, and the power of the gradual release of responsibility cannot be overstated. That simple frame that we talk about, the I do, we do together, y'all do, you do, just reminds us that clarity comes before independence.
Absolutely. And if our listeners want more on that, Anita Archer has got some great webinars that explain that too.
Yes. Love Anita Archer. And this will have an Anita Archer training, I think, at the co-op, right?
Yes, we are in April. April and June.
Yes.
Are when we're having those.
Yeah, with Miss Bear. So
yes,
she's going to do a great job. So yeah.
Yes, we're excited. You mentioned that you worked as a literacy coach in high school. What are some of your favorite resources that you use to support teachers to ensure student growth?
I rely on a few types of resources more than specific programs. One of the most powerful was student work. and is student work, especially examples from other classrooms or grade levels. Seeing what students could produce with the right support help teachers kind of calibrate their expectations. So student work's huge. Another resource I lean on heavily is that a state literacy document, the side-by-side, that shows how the ELA standards progress from kindergarten through 12th grade. I love this document
It's
because
fantastic.
it clarifies grade level rigor. Teachers sometimes feel like the students don't know a skill like main idea.
Mm-hmm.
But these students start learning about main idea in first grade.
Yeah.
The students don't need a lesson on what a main idea is. The real challenge for these students is that the text or task has become more complex.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the side-by-side. I also really value professional learning resources that honor both research and classroom reality. So theory matters. It gives us the why, but teachers also they need support translating that theory into practice. Teaching is very complex. So one podcast, I listen to many, but I often share with teachers is the Melissa and Lori Love Literacy podcast because they regularly bring classroom teachers into the conversation and push beyond the what and into the how. So I can share a specific episode with a teacher and they can often turn around and try something concrete the very next day. So love that podcast. And then I also lean on professional learning opportunities that are both local and the most powerful ones, I would say for me have been the Art Teacher Fellowship through the University of Arkansas and Crystal Bridges. That really shifted my paradigm on instruction, on curriculum, assessment. It was a powerful one for me. The National Writing Project of the U of A is also powerful. And I would say the state-supported work like the Writing Revolution, these experiences help teachers ground strong instructional moves in research while still keeping classrooms practical and manageable. So those are a few I would suggest.
They're wonderful. We'll be sure to list all those resources on our show notes for you guys to check out.
All right. So literacy is always a hot topic among teachers. What is one non-negotiable practice that you recommend to your teachers when teaching their literacy block?
One non-negotiable I always come back to is that the text has to be at the center of the block. So students need daily opportunities to speak, write, read, listen, what we sometimes call swirling it up, right? With that acronym. If students aren't interacting with a text, it's hard to build meaning. I often tell teachers that at least half of our instructional time should involve students' eyes on that text. Closely connected to that is taking what we notice about our students seriously. Teachers' professional judgment matters. I often reference Elena Aguilar, who says emotions are data. If the energy in the room feels off, that tells us something important. Humans are wired to grow. When students see relevance in what they're learning and understand how to improve, engagement follows. Yes.
And that also goes with John Hattie's work on visible learning, too. Okay, when you think about all the great work happening in Pea Ridge Schools, what's one story or success that really captures what makes your district special?
One story that really captures what makes Pea Ridge special is how intentionally we support students who are struggling and how deeply we believe in their potential. Historically, in education, it's been common to reach a point in the upper grades where we say, this student just struggles, and then we move on. What we're doing differently is refusing to stop there. Across the district, we've used screening and diagnostic information from kindergarten through ninth grade to better understand why students are struggling and to provide that targeted literacy support during the school day. This was about a month into that work at our junior high. A teacher came up to me and said, it's working. She shared that students who had been trying to disappear were now raising their hands, volunteering to answer questions, and even reading aloud. I mean, Decades of research tell us that literacy gaps can be closed, but only if we're willing to make the time and provide the support. At Pea Ridge, we're committed to doing that so every student has an equal opportunity to build the skills they need for the future they want.
That is fantastic. And Hannah, I couldn't agree more because it sounds like you guys didn't just look at the data, but you used the data to tell the story of where your kids were missing or having gaps.
Yes.
And so then you can talk specifically about those students rather than saying they're struggling. You can say exactly what they're struggling with. And
Exactly.
that is the key to bringing that data up. And I
Yes.
love that you've already got success within a month's time. That makes
Yeah.
everybody feel good. I know.
Yes. Success begets success. So yes, we're feeling good. And it's just fun to see just the visual of these students who were, they seemed apathetic. They seemed like they were trying to hide, and now they're showing their armpits. They're raising their hands so high. It's to see that confidence is very motivating.
Absolutely.
So if we have some listeners out there who maybe want to come visit or tour your school and kind of learn from you because y'all got it going on out there, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Email is best. So, and it's just, my name is a little weird, so I'm sure you'll post it somewhere, but it's Hannah with an H at the end .mhoon at PRidgeK12.com, or feel free to connect with me on Facebook. Most of my time on Facebook is often work with professional literacy groups. So I've made some professional connections there. But I would say my stepdaughter, she's trying to get me to use LinkedIn more. So feel free to connect with me more there. So
I spend a lot of time there these days too, Hannah. They've got some great things.
I'm starting to get on there more. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Hannah, thank you so very much for sharing with us today, for sharing all of these strategies that they can, start in their classrooms tomorrow. We have really appreciated it and loved everything that you have said.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was so fun. I was honored you all asked. But our public schools are doing cutting edge work, and you all at the co-op are helping bringing us together. So really, thank you all. Sincerely, thank you all for all that you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you. We appreciate that.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Inspiration After the Bell. We hope you're walking away with some fresh ideas, renewed energy, and a little extra inspiration to bring to your class tomorrow.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find links and resources from today's episode in our show notes.
Thanks for all you do every day after the bell and beyond. We'll see you next time.